So if we're starting this video at the usual time, welcome, it's 9 p.m. It's time to tune in for another episode of What is George gonna do with his car?
Take the spacer off.
Take that off. It's breaking the tires loose. Well, the space was so successful, some people said, hey, why don't you try 2 or maybe 3? Well, we're gonna go better than that. This is something we're gonna try. We're gonna weld this on this piece of pipe right there. In all seriousness, the additional power, we talked about it before, but the motor is moving around a lot more. About doing something about that, that is coming up soon. Okay, so the reason we're taking the throttle body off is we're gonna send it off to have it bored out. Now, throttle body options, there's even Chinese options out there. You can buy a throttle body now for next to nothing. But George thinks like me, he really wants to keep with the OEM casting, the OEM parts. It's obviously a high quality piece. We're gonna take this off and send it out and have it bored out.
All right, we've got it all out. I got my gasket back off, which did come off in one piece, which is nice. And these, which I've deleted, I'm gonna pull these out now so they're not just hanging here doing nothing.
Just clean it up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, that's our cue.
That's
Lunch
our
is
cue.
ready.
Lunch.
You do? What are you fabricating now, Esther?
I'm fabricating the cheese to fit my sandwiches because I don't like it hanging out the side.
That is awesome. That's how you make a square piece of cheese round. That's fantastic.
Yes, I do that all the time, actually.
That is awesome. That's good stuff. So what are we making, Esther? What do we got in here? What is the mush in the...
We have Esther's elusive chicken salad because it's never going to be made again.
Do what we do. Just make something really, really cool and then never offer it again.
Never make it again.
Ready? Never before. LH2. Listen.
We have authorized the technicians to proceed and shut down the power at your location.
They're going to shut down the power again, Esther.
Payment direct line to avoid disconnection at 866-307-4534.
Yep. They're going to want about $300 to stop.
866-307-4534.
You know what? We'll send the dog after you. Dog. Can you fix the power? Hey, can you fix the power? Yep, that was actually officially from Duke Energy. Go ahead and shut it off, guy. The stock throttle body, let's go ahead and just get a measure just so we have kind of like a, you know, like a baseline right here. So we have, looks like 61 millimeters. So we're gonna send it out to Max Bore. Now, I'll give you all their details. They've been around a long time. We've used them in the past. He knows what he's doing. He does a terrific job of these. But I wanted to get a good close-up of this throttle body the way it looks right now. So rather than making something really complicated, get a box that is bigger than the throttle body. I put basically 4 layers of bubble wrap. Just put the throttle body in there real quick so we can get an idea of how much room we got around us. This is obviously so anything gets bounced on this, doesn't damage it. You don't want it so it's right up against the wall of the box. He wants a gap around it. So what we're going to do is put this, he wants this sent together so it's bored the same. We're going to go ahead and put this together, wrap this in paper. Once you've got this packed, put your information in the box. When he receives this, whoever receives this, if they look at the label, it might not have all your information for return. It might even be from like a pack and ship location. All right, so this is how he wants it. This, I just hand wrote it, so it's super simple. This is what you need to do. Just get a full, clean, white sheet of paper, put this in, so there's no guessing. He gets it, he knows who you are, where it's going, how to contact you, what car it is, if you've put anything else in the box. Just as much information as you can give him. Get your white piece of paper, put in here, tape it up. All right, so now you need to get the lovely Esther to make you a label. So, Max Bore, 1742 South Woodland Boulevard, yada yada yada, and put in your weight. Well, you know how to do this. Go to your pack and ship and give it to them. And then, of course, hand it to your favorite UPS guy.
Don't get any blood on it, so like you want.
No, keep it clean. This is actually a good read. If you go to Hondata's forum, they talk about throttle bodies, and it's not just one type of throttle body, it's the differences between different size throttle bodies, swapping it from car to car. And there's a lot of interesting information here, including Well, it talks about the amount of power it takes to drive a throttle body. Now, you got to remember, a throttle body is made of basically two parts. It's an electric motor that is moving your butterfly like this, and then there is the TPS, which is measuring the position of it. TPS, throttle position sensor. It's incorporated into the throttle body as opposed to on the side like the old ones. The little information right here, they show the power it takes to drive it, and they show a Civic Si taking 4.9 amps, a TL 8.2, and a ZDX 10.4. That's double the amps. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It means that it might be bad for the ECU over time. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, I've had a ZDX throttle body, I've had this throttle body on my car for a long time with no problems. And yes, that might very well be the case. Just kind of bringing to your attention the difference and things to look for, which is honestly one more reason I like to use an OEM throttle body and just make it larger.
Let's see if you packed it as nice as we did.
It looks like you did a pretty good job.
So we've got some of the material we put in there.
Yeah, we gave it nice
Triton stuff.
Yep, no, you used our stuff. So that's another good reason why you should pack it right, because you'll get it packed back the same way.
There's gaskets in here somewhere too. We don't want to crumble those up.
There's the spacer.
Okay. And he said he machined the surface just to make sure it was good. Got 2 gaskets.
He sells gaskets if you need them. He
Matched
can
to
sell
the
you.
size of your throttle body.
All right, let's open this guy. Let's see what it looks like. So it went from 60 to 64.5.
Yep.
I think you're probably limited by this, right? If you want any more than that, you would lose that
Yeah, because
gasket
I think this
seal.
needs to be a surface here.
Yeah.
It's not too critical, but I believe it does need to have a surface there.
So that's about as big as he can go safely. Of course, the motor is the same. It sure looks nice.
Yeah.
So aboard that throttle body, of course, all you're doing is allowing more air to come into the engine. Well, if your intake manifold isn't big enough or it isn't moving more air than the throttle body isn't going to make as much power. So this is a really nicely done job. I gotta love his quality. Look at that. Look how nice the blade is. Something else to note, the screws that hold the throttle plate to the shaft, you see how they're peened over so they can't back out. That's another important thing to look at when you're getting a throttle body. If you just put a screw in with Loctite, let me get it in the light, you can't be sure that it's not gonna come out. Whereas when you peen it over like that, it's one more step, a little bit more secure. So that's a good looking piece right there. So while the car is in here, George is going to do an oil change, something interesting that we've talked about in the past, but this one is pretty bad. Look at that. That is the drain washer for the drain bolt. This shouldn't look like a top hat. It should look like a plain washer. So somebody hadn't been replacing those.
Yeah, if you change your own oil, you're only going to save yourself maybe 35 cents by not replacing that. So
yeah.
Just do it.
When you get your Honda filter, ask them for this. They have them in stock. Every dealership has them because they use them.
Yeah, sometimes I have this with a washer just taped to it for people that DIY.
Yeah. So draining the oil, it's going to go ahead, put the new filter on, put some fresh oil in there, and then we can dyno. So just wanted to show you under this car real quick. It's dirty, but there is one shiny spot. This is obviously the genuine Mugen muffler that comes on the Mugen Civic Si. And again, the suspension, the springs, the whole suspension system is Mugen, which is part of what makes this car special. It's not just, you know, the badge and the muffler. It's got a lot of extra little things that have basically tuned the car. This is where the Japanese tune things. They don't make massive changes. They don't make 550 horsepower and say it's tuned. They do a lot of real small things that add up and enhance the car. It's kind of a subtle way of tuning. But of course, when these dudes do it, they know what they're doing. They balance the setup really well. So I'd be interested to see this car go to a road course. I think this will be as fun as can be. So while he's under here, George is taking full advantage of the lift and the drain bucket, changing the transmission fluid too. I didn't get a chance to see it. How was it, George? It looked pretty good?
It was, you know, on the darker side of clear.
Because the transmission shifts real good, and it's something that I always stress to people. Change your fluids, change your oil. Change it more regular than they tell you. You're not saving any money stretching it. And if you're super into your car like we are, change it more frequent. All right, there's our quick side-by-side. This is the factory throttle body. this is what it looks like, and this is the board throttle body from Max Bore. It's quite a big difference, and again, you're only talking 4.5 millimeters. Obviously, that's measuring diameter, but you've got, you know, the circumference is 3 times that. So you've got, I don't remember what the CFM calculation is, but it's quite significant. We're going to put this on the car. We kind of went back and forth. Shall we dyno it? Are we going to expect anything? Are we wasting our time? But you know what? We have the dyno. We're just going to see what it does. I think the intake manifold might be a restriction before the throttle body. And he does have plans of probably pulling the throttle body off, and we'll cut it open here and grind it and open it up. Basically make it flow as much as we can. We're trying to make the engine as efficient as possible. We're not trying to do anything too crazy. Trying to obviously make it more efficient, make more power. But that is quite a bit of an increase in size. Look at that. I just wanted to show something here for you phone nerds that I'm always interested in this. This is T-Mobile. This is at our shop. We're on the 4G right now, the LTE. This is an iPhone 7. I'll show you doing a speed test. This is pretty amazing. Watch this. Hopefully it don't make me out to be a liar. Watch my speed. That's actually lower than it usually is. If you can see that number, it usually goes over 100. There we go. Usually it's quite a bit over 100, but is that not impressive? All right, back together. Big throttle body. Fresh oil. Let's get it on the dyno. Alright, back on the dyno. There it is, just proof. There's the spacer back in. So everything's back the way it was. We're just going to let the car warm up, do a run, see what it does. I just want to stress, just so people are watching this, they're not like expecting us to pick up another 5 horsepower. I don't know that it will pick up power, because of course it needs support in mods. I really think that intake manifold needs to be ported, because it is a little smaller than the throttle body, but you know what, we're here. It's easy to do. Let's just put it on. It's kind of an experiment. It's just interesting to see. The dyno's not going to lie. Water temperature good?
Yep.
What are we at?
181 or 183.
All right, good deal. I'll step back. Here we go. It leaned out a little bit. Look at that, leaned out everywhere on that run. So we're going to put a little bit of fuel in it and just make sure it's safe. We're not tuning for power, we're tuning for safety and consistency. So let's keep working. We'll show you the results here in a second. This is our big noisy fan, by the way. Now we still use it in the dyno room. It still works really well. As you feel, it blows a ton of air. But in our regular shop, listening to this all day long, it's too noisy, super noisy and annoying. But for here, it evacuates the fumes and it's super nice and clean in here. No breathing in carbon dioxide. Just kidding about that. It's picked up a little bit here, a little bit, and it's about the same. Then it picks up a little bit. I mean, it's like 2 horsepower. I mean, it's so minimal gains, but it did gain. And again, we do have that step into the manifold, so it didn't lose anything. It's going to make the drivability a little crisper, but realistically, I think our biggest gains were there. Let's just turn the torque off. So, I mean, if we're talking 5 horsepower, it didn't really do anything peak, but you know, it made it all the way through here. All it did was really keep the air-fuel ratio. I mean, it's a couple of horsepower all the way through. I mean, we're kind of, I think we've kind of maxed the motor out the way we have it with the cold air intake, the Skunk 2 header. It still has the Mugen exhaust, which we talked about, and we're kind of thinking just to eliminate this exhaust. I mean, this is the Mugen exhaust. It's the full exhaust. There's no changes. Now, is that exhaust the restriction? We're sitting, you know, right at 222. Is that holding back the power? There's only one way to find out, right? Yeah. Gonna get out the Sawzall, cut it right in the middle.
Maybe a little past the middle, so it's, you know.
Cut past the Mugen badge. Don't cut in the middle of the badge. Cut just past it.
Yeah.
That way it's still authentic. Still a Mugen. Yeah. Mugen exhaust. It's cut. It's cut in half. Cut right in the middle of the resonator, so it acts like a megaphone. So you ready? You want to see what a dropped exhaust will do? See what happens when you're breathing in carbon monoxide? You own your own dyno. Yeah. Carbon monoxide is kicking in. We're chasing 2 horsepower. Let's drop the exhaust. We're gonna really get into this vibe. To make it cool. Ready? Yeah. I'm gonna drop my pants too. Just kidding. Wow, you're liking this way too much. I see. That's it. Let's do this. Let's make 1 horsepower. 224. Sounds great. Awesome. Yo. That sounds amazing. So you want to see what this ear bleeding was all about? I'm gonna see if that Mugen exhaust is our restriction. Oh, there it is. It made the power.
There's a couple right there.
It made the power. Right. Yikes. Let's see, that's the biggest gain. Where did it make our biggest gain? Right there. That's 4 horsepower. That's it.
It's hard to believe, you know. You always
It
hear
is.
that you need a 3-inch exhaust for a K-Series.
Well, on Jeff's car, it made a phenomenal difference,
Well,
but this
he has
is a
an
better
inch and
exhaust. What?
He had like 1 3/4 exhaust. This
Yeah.
was like 2 1/4.
Exactly. It's not a horrible exhaust. I mean, it's the Mugen exhaust, so it isn't the bass one. It is louder. I mean, is that worth it to you guys? Do you want your ears to bleed for that and that? I'm shouting right now because I can't hear my own voice. You know when you put earmuffs on and you're shouting because you're listening to loud music and everyone else is looking at you funny?
Yeah.
That's me right now. My ear is literally ringing. I covered like this and I couldn't cover.
Right there in the toolbox.
I know, but I was getting into it. I was getting into the yo. This is a cool deal. So, there it is. Don't think George is doing an exhaust anytime soon. If he does, it's going to be for sheer weight reduction.
Yeah.
Certainly not for horsepower, because I think that's all she wrote. So I would say on that bombshell, I can't say that, so he might get us upset. So on that result, I guess we're going to leave the exhaust alone. The next thing we are going to do is engine mounts, right?
We have engine mounts coming. I've got a big box of brakes down there to do.
There's more coming.
The powder coater came back from vacation finally. I got my valve cover done.
Do you want to give him a quick tease? Is it in there?
No, I took it out because I was going around.
No tease.
No tease.
So engine mounts are coming soon. Stay tuned for the next episode. Hopefully you're liking it. Hopefully you're not getting as crazy as we are. And if you are getting crazy, I hope you like it.
If you're getting crazy, put it on YouTube. Tag us in it.